What's going on, you guys? Coaster here, and I'm just talking about the Super Bowl. Obviously, the Super Bowl's coming up. I figured I'll just get this out of the way. So I'll talk about both teams before I make my predictions. So starting out with the Chiefs, this was a team that we all know who they are. They're the favorites, blah, blah, blah. As long as they got Mahomes, they're going to be relevant. And that still is the case. Yes, they don't have Tyreek Hill. They don't have a few individuals on offense anymore, but they still have Travis Kelce, and Travis Kelce obviously runs their offense as well, besides Mahomes. On defense, I think about just a few playmakers on the line. Of course, Chris Jones being the big one. But really, their defense is in the middle. It's an average defense that is hated by just being off the field. It's all about what Patrick Mahomes does. If he makes plays for them, then the Chiefs obviously have competed. They can still run the ball. I know this year was Pacheco. Isaiah Pacheco has been one of their big guys for the running game. And that said, the receivers are not exactly flashy. Yet, as long as you got Travis Kelce open, he'll make plays. He's still the main weapon on offense after Mahomes himself. But the defense is still, I think, very average at best. On the Philadelphia side, this is a group that really has made some all-in moves. I mean, you think about they've had some homegrown talent on the defensive line. Their offensive line's been good. Of course, both teams have a very good offensive line. I can't stress that enough. That's what's always key into football, is having a good line. The Chiefs, of course, didn't have their offensive line a couple Super Bowls ago when they faced Tampa. Philadelphia, on the other hand, Jalen Hurts, it's all about how Jalen Hurts has put an MVP season together. A lot of people were questionable when he was drafted. And even the Eagles, when we think about how the Eagles fired Doug Peterson 3 years removed from that Super Bowl, they bring in Nick Sirianni. The culture's changed a bit. Everyone wanted Howie Roseman to be fired. I remember people thought Howie Roseman was a terrible GM. Yet, you make a bunch of moves, you make a couple tinkered moves, and draft the right players, you have a contender. I mean, this isn't the Eagles that tried to buy their way in free agency. They have some veterans, some older veterans on the line, like Joseph and Ndamukong Suh, that they have signed. But the biggest signing for them was Hassan Reddick. That's probably the best free agent signing of last offseason. He's a big reason why their pass rush is big. And their defense still has veterans like Darius Slay as well, who they traded for a few years ago. They got him for free. But really, it's been about the offense. I mean, I didn't think Jalen Hurts was going to be this kind of player that he was this season. It's a surprise for me as an outsider. Running back, of course, they have multiple guys that can carry. They kind of go by committee from what I've seen, even though Miles Sanders gets all the carries. Good for him. But also on offense, what's put them over the top is A.J. Brown. I know that was an easy trade at the draft. Took advantage of a Titans team that couldn't pay him, and the Eagles did pay him on the flip side. But how about for Devonta Smith? That guy's been a big playmaker, and all they had to do was trade up for him. But it's also key that even the guys at tight end, like Dallas Goedert, who he was drafted several years ago, it's nice to know that he's a relevant tight end. I remembered him when David Akers got to announce that pick. And Dallas Goedert is a relevant player, so it's good to see that he's good and just. But yes, the Eagles, when I look at this roster, the Eagles were healthy. That was a big reason why they cruised their way to the number one seed and were the top team in the NFC. Pretty well rounded on all fronts. I can't find a weakness for them on paper when I'm looking at the roster. They've done a tremendous job with Nick Sirianni. I've heard he's a good micromanager. From what I've seen, a lot of people think the Eagles haven't been tested. That's been the big question mark. So they saw a 49ers team that didn't have their quarterback or got injured in the first quarter. And then they saw a Giants team that really wasn't that good for their 2 playoff wins. But you can't take the ball at work as a whole. Their NFC run this year was dominant. I saw dominance through that, especially that first half of the season. It took them, a divisional game to finally lose one. And then they finally sat some guys near the end. I know Jalen Hurts was not healthy near the end of the regular season, but still the Eagles have shown to me that they were the most complete NFC team. No question. You have 2 1 seeds going at it. So how do I see this game, and how do I see it going forward? I think that the Chiefs' defense is suspect enough. I think that's going to be the big weakness coming into this. I think the Eagles are the more well-rounded team. I think as long as the Eagles have possession and they keep the defense on the field longer, I think they'll win. It'll be all about time of possession. Yeah, turnovers and all that is obvious. Turnovers can always change a game too, but if If the Eagles own the ball in time of possession, they win this. They control, just be methodical. Defense gets tired. Keep Patrick Mahomes off the field is the biggest key. And on the other hand, that goes same for the Chiefs. I mean, if Mahomes is not playing well, then it's pretty simple. But I think the Chiefs' defense, I don't think they can handle a duel. If there's a high-scoring affair, I think the Chiefs' defense is going to fold a lot faster than the Eagles will. But this should be a very good, tight game on paper. A lot better than the conference championship games maybe we have seen. Really, when I look around the league, I'm more annoyed at the whole quarterbacks get protection. It's like impossible to tackle a quarterback nowadays. They get all this protection, roughing the passer, BS. I don't know what you're supposed to do if you're a defensive player going to sack a quarterback. It seems impossible. Maybe that's just the observation I've seen this season. Of course, I'm not going to question that call on the Bengals guy who hit Patrick Mahomes right before overtime would have happened at the end of regulation. That's the right call. But there's still just a lot of questionable things going into this. And, yeah, the Eagles, I think they're the favorite. Obviously, I want them to win. I'm even wearing some Philadelphia gear for y'all. And, of course, if you're from Reading, Reading, I'm wearing the Fighting Phils. I'm going to pull for the Eagles. But I also think the Eagles are going to win. I think they're going to pull away late, and I think they're the better team. So, Eagles 34, Chiefs 24. That's how I see it. I just think the Eagles are the better team. But no one can be written off. There would be no shocking upset or really any surprise. It would be only if there's like a collapse, if there's some busted play, if the Chiefs score on some 70-yard touchdown. I mean, something will be wrong there. I just think the Eagles' defense is too good for that to happen. There's too many things about the Eagles that says they're the better team on paper, and I just think there's more playmakers as well. I mean, it's a team game. We could talk about how Mahomes can carry a team, but I think the Eagles have more weapons, more personnel, and that's why I think the Eagles are the favorites. So what do you have in this game? How do you see it going about? I mean, I know if you're a Raiders fan, obviously you know who you're rooting for. That's an easy answer. But Eagles, yeah, I think the Eagles are the better team on this. So I am picking who I want to win this time. Y'all think I picked the other way? No, I think the Eagles are the better team. So, let me know what y'all think. We'll see you guys next time.